On Friday, U.S. Court of International Trade Judge Richard Eaton ruled that Donald Trump must begin to refund tariffs the Supreme Court ruled illegal and unconstitutional. The Trump Justice Department told Judge Eaton, who is an expert on international trade, that U.S. Customs and Border Protection isn't able to immediately comply with his order to refund Trump's tariffs. CNBC reports that Judge Eaton said during a court hearing, Customs knows how to do this. They do it every day. They liquidate entries and make refunds. Judge Eaton gave Donald Trump 45 days to set up an automated system to process the tariff refunds, saying, quote, these duties must now be refunded with interest and the clock is ticking. Further interest is accumulating every day, with approximately $650 million accruing per month. If the entries are not liquidated before the end of the year, it is further estimated that $10 billion of interest will have accrued. American taxpayers will bear this financial burden. Judge Eaton told Donald Trump and his lawyers to file a report describing their process to issue the refunds by this Thursday, just 2 days from now. And yesterday, two small businesses sued Donald Trump over his 10% tariff policy that he said he was going to implement immediately after the Supreme Court ruled that his other tariffs were illegal and unconstitutional. The co-founder of one of the companies said in a statement, quote, sudden global tariffs make it harder for us to operate, harder for our partners to sell their crops, and more expensive for American families. We joined this case because trade policy shouldn't be made by inventing an economic crisis. Joining us now is Rick Woldenberg, CEO of Learning Resources, which has been making award-winning educational toys for the last 40 years. His company was the lead plaintiff in the Trump tariff case in the Supreme Court. Rick, welcome back to the program.
Thank
Congratulations.
You.
First time I get to congratulate you on this big win in the Supreme Court. And I have to say, when you see a judge from the Court of International Trade, where all those judges are actually experts on international trade, when you see them handling these cases, there's no doubt about the clarity of the situation. There's Judge Eaton telling Donald Trump's lawyers, of course you know how to do this, and he's ordering them to automate it. So that sounds like you can start to expect your refund.
It's always been my expectation we would get the refund. I'm gratified by what the judge said. The Supreme Court ruled that the tariffs were unlawful, which means that the government overcollected taxes. I think Judge Eaton is really just stating what every American expects. When the government collects too much in taxes, they have to give it back with interest, and, let's get moving. And I agree with him.
And beginning as soon as people start filing their tax returns every year, the United States Treasury engages in a much bigger tax refund program than this, and it is automated, and people get their checks. They know that the Treasury knows how to do this on the income tax side, and Judge Eaton, who's an expert on the trade side, is saying they know exactly how to do it on tariffs, too.
They do. We've received rebates on overpaid duties and tariffs already through their electronic system, so the system works. I think that the declaration submitted by Customs in that case defines a fairly manual process, which I think you'd have to describe as worst case. But the judge has also pointed out that the government has a lot of computers, and certainly they process refunds to the tune of many millions a year. I have heard, can't verify, that it's over 100 million refunds in total, perhaps nationwide, to the 340 million people that live in this country. Yes, they can do it, and they need to do it.
I have to say, it is so refreshing to hear a judge who's actually an expert in this dealing with the Trump lawyers. They don't get away with anything that they try in front of other judges.
Well, I agree with that, too. And there have been various threats of appeals and so on, but I don't know what the legal basis would be, honestly. The tariff was unlawful, which is an unlawful tax, which means the taxes were overcollected. There's a law on this. It's black and white. And the judge is right to say to the government, stop horsing around. You have to give the money back.
Rick Woldenberg, you are owed your refund and you're owed a debt of gratitude from the people of this country for fighting for the Constitution by bringing this case to court. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.